Listen. Do you feel that? That slight tremor in your chest when you wake up every morning, unsure if you've got the strength to face another day. It's that uneasy whisper that tells you you're not good enough, not brave enough, not strong enough. It's that voice inside that clings to doubt, that feeds on fear, that wraps itself around your heart and makes you forget your own power. I want you to imagine looking that voice squarely in the eye. Picture it trembling, uncertain, knowing its days are numbered. That voice is what I call a weak feeling, and it's time to put it to rest. Because every one of us in this room has a destiny that goes far beyond the limitations we place on ourselves. We have a responsibility not just to survive in this life, but to rise above every chain that tries to keep us small. So hear me when I tell you, you must kill your weak feelings before they kill your future. I know that might sound aggressive, and it is, but there's a reason for this urgency. Weak feelings hold us back from achieving the greatness we are called to. They plant doubt in our minds at precisely the moment we need to stand tall. They rob us of the courage we need to act. They hijack our dreams. They twist our desires and turn them cold. And they do it subtly, quietly, so that before we know it, our lives become governed by insecurity and resignation. That, my friends, is a tragedy, because each of us is designed to break barriers. Each of us is here to claim our potential. Each of us has a gift that the world is waiting to see, a voice that needs to be heard, a dream that's meant to catch fire. Don't let your weak feelings quench that flame. Don't allow your own mindset to become a prison. So why are we all here, gathered in this moment, listening so intently, hearts pounding in our chests? We're here because deep down, we know there's more to life than playing small. We can sense the untapped power coursing through our veins, but we also sense those whispers of uncertainty. We hear them in the still of the night, or right before we take the stage, or in the hush that falls when we think of our goals. Those whispers keep asking, who am I to dream so big? Who am I to believe in success? Well, the real question is, who are you not to believe? Who are you not to push harder, fight longer, and rise higher? If not you, then who? If not now, then when? People say life is short. I disagree. Life is long when you're stuck in doubt. Life stretches out in front of you like a desert of missed opportunities when you don't move, when you don't fight, when you settle. And that desert is vast. It's lonely. It's the place where dreams go to die. I don't want you to live in that desert. I want you to stride toward your promise, your purpose, the place where your gifts thrive and your passion flourishes. I want you to break free from that cage you built with your own hands. I want you to turn the key, step outside, and claim what's already yours. But we have to get serious about it. We have to be unflinching. The moment you accept that a weak feeling is holding you back, that's the moment you can no longer tolerate its presence. Yes, it will hurt to dismantle that part of yourself. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable, lonely, and frightening. But this is where you'll discover a new level of strength. This is where you'll find out who you really are. And that's why we're here today, to confront the demons within, to tackle those weak feelings head on, and to set ourselves free. Your life is waiting. Your destiny is calling. And nothing, absolutely nothing, should stop you from answering. Let's talk about one crucial truth right now. You must decide if your dreams are worth more than your fears. You must decide if your calling matters more than your comfort. You must decide if you can bear the weight of regret more than the weight of challenge. Because one way or another, and you will feel pain. The question is, will that pain be the pain of growth or the pain of never knowing how far you could have gone? I want you to hold that question in your heart as we move forward. Let it echo in the silence between your breaths. Let it humble you. Let it empower you. Because that question is the key to unlocking your resolve. And if you're ready, truly ready, to answer it, then let's go deeper. Let's peel back the layers and learn how to spot those weak feelings, how to confront them, and how to break them so thoroughly they never again stand between you and your destiny. Let's begin with a truth that might sound uncomfortable. Your feelings lie to you when they're weak. They paint illusions. They say you're not qualified, not talented, not lucky, not able. They say you should keep your head down and stay quiet. But don't be deceived. These feelings are rooted in fear, not fact. They come when you've stumbled or faced rejection or experienced betrayal. They come when you question whether you have the resources or time or the right support. They feed on every little doubt and blow it up into a monster. Yet monsters are made to be slain. So you stand tall, you sharpen your resolve, and you tell those feelings no more. Because when you kill those weak feelings, you step into the light of possibility. And if you're nodding right now, if you feel that spark in your chest telling you this is exactly what you needed to hear, then I've got news for you. You're already on your way to freedom. Let's dig in deeper. Weak feelings often arise from our persistent fear of failing. Let's look at that fear head on. Suppose you have a big dream. Maybe it's starting a business, writing a book, running for office, auditioning for a role, or stepping into a new level of leadership. Whenever you think about that dream, you get excited. You see yourself triumphant, your dream realized. But then, right on cue, that creeping doubt appears. It asks, what if you fail? What if you can't handle it? What if you lose your reputation? And in the blink of an eye, you retreat. You hold back. You stifle the desire in your heart, and you settle for a more familiar path. That's a weak feeling at work. It's anchored in the fear of shame, the fear of judgment, the fear of exposure. It can be paralyzing. It can shut you down. And it can steal your future if you let it. But let me challenge you with a question. What if you succeed? What if you surpass every expectation? What if the only thing standing in your way is that weak feeling of fear? That possibility is as real as your doubt. To embrace it, you have to starve the fear. You have to refuse to engage with the voices telling you it's not worth the risk. Because the truth is, risk and reward life side by side. Yes, you might fail. Yes, people might criticize you. Yes, it might cost you more time and effort than you imagined. But what's the alternative? Accepting a life half lived. Shrinking yourself to please the crowd. Looking back in 50 years and wondering what might have been. Absolutely not. We are not made for half measures. We are made for boldness, for growth, for the kind of living that sets our souls on fire. Think of a time you risked failure and came out stronger. Maybe you tried something new and stumbled at first, but the result was that you learned, you adapted, and eventually you thrived. That pattern repeats itself whenever you take a leap of faith. It's an inevitable cycle of risk. Stumble, learn, soar. But it only happens if you give yourself permission to try. If you let fear lock you in place, you never enter that cycle. You stagnate, your potential withers away. The difference between the dreamer and the door is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act regardless. So how do you kill this weak feeling of fear? You face it head on. You name it. You stare it in the eye and say, Wes, I see you, but you do not control me. Then you do the very thing you're afraid of. You ask for that promotion. You launch that project. You step onto that stage. You claim that space is yours. Because once you take action despite fear, you rob fear of its power. You prove that your courage is greater. You prove that you can do it scared. And once you've done that, fear loses its grip on you. If you try again, but wiser, tougher, better prepared, if you succeed, you open doors that would have stayed locked forever. Either way, you grow. That growth is how you kill fear once and for all. Because a person who keeps growing is a person no weak feeling can destroy. Your growth is your weapon. Use it. Sharpen it. Never let it get dull. And while you're fighting that battle, remember, you're not alone. Everybody in this room and everyone you admire out there has wrestled with fear. Everybody has heard that same discouraging whisper. You can't. But they pushed through. They decided that living with regret is far worse than facing fear. So can you? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine who you'd be on the other side of that fear. That's the person you're meant to become. That's the life waiting for you. Don't let fear steal it. Kill the weak feeling instead. Now, let's tackle another weak feeling that often keeps us chained. The feeling of unworthiness. It's that nagging sense that you're not deserving of success, love, or recognition. Maybe you grew up in a tough environment. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe you've never quite lived up to someone else's standards. Parents, teachers, bosses. And you carry that shame on your back like a heavy sack of bricks. You walk into opportunities feeling weighed down, believing deep inside that you're not enough. So you sabotage your own progress. You settle for relationships that drain you. You avoid competition because you assume you'll lose. You postpone your dreams indefinitely. That's the tragic effect of unworthiness. It corrodes your spirit from within, bit by bit, day by day. But hear me, you are worthy because you exist. You're worthy because you have breath in your lungs, a mind full of ideas, and a heart capable of beating for something greater. Worthiness is not something you earn. It's a state of being. Yes, you can refine your skills, build your ISAM, and gain more experience. But at your core, your worth is constant. It's not tied to anyone else's opinion. It's not tied to whether you succeed or fail. It's not tied to your past or your future. It's tied to who you are, a human being with purpose and potential. So why do so many of us get trapped in unworthiness? Because we've absorbed messages from society, from those we looked up to, from past failures. We've let those messages override our inherent value. We assume that if we haven't achieved a certain level of success yet, we must not deserve it. That's a lie. Worthiness is the soil from which success can grow, not the other way around. If you keep waiting until you deserve success by some external standard, you will wait forever. You must recognize your worth now. That's how you uproot the feeling of unworthiness. Picture a seed planted in fertile ground. Without rich soil and proper conditions, that seed can't grow. Worthiness is your fertile ground. You provide the belief in your own value so that when life's opportunities come, you can nurture them into full bloom. If you think you're unworthy, you sabotage that process. You neglect your potential. You hide your talents. You bury your abilities out of fear of being seen and maybe judged. But that fear of judgment is just another weak feeling. Let's kill that too. Because the truth is, people will always have opinions. Some will cheer for you, some won't. The only opinion that truly matters is the one that determines your actions. That opinion must be your own unwavering belief in your worth. So how do you kill the weak feeling of unworthiness? First, you become aware of it. Maybe you feel a tightening in your chest when an opportunity arises. Maybe you reflexively say, I can't do that. Ask yourself, why not? Are you really unqualified, or do you simply believe you are? The second step is to challenge that belief. List your achievements, however small. Think of times you overcame obstacles. Reflect on the qualities people admire in you. Confront the evidence of your worthiness and let it speak louder than your insecurities. The third step, practice. You have to practice feeling worthy just as you practice any other skill. That means speaking kindly to yourself. That means walking into a room with your head held high. That means allowing yourself to receive praise without deflecting it. Each time you practice, you strengthen a new mindset. It won't happen overnight, but day by day, you transform. And one day, you realize that the old feeling of unworthiness no longer has a hold on you. You've taken away its power. You've killed it by choosing to live in the truth of your value. And trust me, once you cross that threshold, the world opens up. Suddenly, challenges that seemed insurmountable become stepping stones. You apply for bigger positions. You ask for what you need. You set boundaries. You set your standards higher. You realize that if you don't respect yourself, no one else can do it for you. And there is nothing more magnetic than a person who knows their worth. People gravitate to that energy. They sense your confidence. They see your strength. They follow your lead. That's how you create positive impact. By first standing in the power of your own worthiness. The next weak feeling I want to address is complacency. Sometimes, after achieving a certain level of success, we settle. We think we've done enough. We get comfortable and we lose our hunger for growth. Or maybe we haven't achieved much, but we still settle because it's safer to keep our heads down. We tell ourselves we're okay with just enough. We convince ourselves that passion and ambition are for other people. And so we stagnate. Complacency is a silent thief. It steals our potential because it disguises itself as peace. But it's not genuine peace. It's the absence of challenge. It's the slow erosion of your dreams under the guise of contentment. Ask yourself, when was the last time you challenged yourself? Really pushed yourself beyond the boundary of what felt comfortable? When was the last time you took a risk that made your heart pound? Because if you can't remember, then complacency might be at your door. It's easy to get stuck in a routine. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, sleep, repeat. No risk, no growth, no fire. That's not living. That's existing. And there's a world of difference between those two states. The consequences of complacency are grave. You lose the spark that made you dream in the first place. You stop innovating. You stop learning. And soon enough, the opportunities that once knocked on your door move on to someone else. Your relationships suffer because you're not bringing fresh energy into them. Your mind becomes dull because it's not being challenged. And your heartache is because deep down, it knows you were made for more. If you continue on that path, you might wake up one day and wonder where all your time went. You'll realize you've been sleepwalking through life, and you'll feel the sting of regret. That sting is the heartbreak of not having dared to do better. So how do you break free? How do you kill this weak feeling of complacency? You set new challenges for yourself. You refuse to stay in the same place. You volunteer for the tough projects. You pursue the skills that scare you. You seek out mentors and become a mentor yourself. You shake up your environment. Maybe that means traveling. Maybe that means meeting new people. Maybe that means changing your routines. You feed your mind with new knowledge. You keep a spirit of curiosity. You remember the hunger that first drove you to chase your dreams. And you feed that hunger every single day. When you take these steps, you reignite your passion. You force yourself to grow. You rediscover the joy of learning. You remember why you started on this path in the first place. Suddenly, complacency has no place in your life. It withers in the face of relentless forward motion. And something amazing happens. You find that life is infinitely more vibrant, more rewarding, more meaningful when you're pushing yourself to evolve. Every new challenge becomes an adventure. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity. You realize that as long as you keep growing, you keep living. And that's what it means to truly be alive. We've confronted fear, unworthiness, and complacency head on. Each of these feelings can cripple us if we allow them free rein in our minds. Each of them can chain us to a lesser version of ourselves. But we have the power to fight back. We have the power to say, not today, not anymore. Because killing your weak feelings is not about denying your humanity. It's about embracing the fullness of your potential. It's about recognizing that those feelings are not unstoppable forces. They're obstacles you can overcome. And now we come to a moment of reckoning. In your heart, you know which weak feeling resonates most with you. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's unworthiness. Maybe it's complacency, or all three. Maybe you have a different label for it altogether. But you feel it. You sense it. You know how it has shaped your actions or inaction until now. The question is, are you ready to kill it? Are you ready to fight for the life you deserve? Let's remember what we've learned so far. We started by acknowledging the power these weak feelings can hold if left unchecked. We confronted fear by understanding that true growth requires risk. We uprooted unworthiness by realizing that worth is inherent, not earned. And we crushed complacency by reigniting the fire for continuous growth. Together, these insights form a roadmap, a toolkit for demolishing whatever stands in the way of your greatness. But insight alone is never enough. You must act. Action is the only antidote to regret. Action is where your resolve is tested and proven. So I'm challenging you to take that step. It might be a small shift or a giant leap. It might be having a hard conversation you've avoided. It might be sending that application you've saved as a draft. It might be ending a toxic relationship. It might be investing in a new skill or relocating for a fresh start. Whatever it is, do it. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They'll never come. Don't wait for permission. The only permission you need is your own. And don't wait for a sign. Your desire to change is the sign. I know it's not easy, but it's worth it. Imagine the future you, free from the chains of weak feelings. Imagine the clarity, the peace, the sheer excitement of knowing you've stepped into your rightful place. That future is real. It's waiting for you on the other side of your fear, your unworthiness, your complacency. And you have everything you need to get there, right here, right now, inside of you. What do you do when you fall? You get back up. What do you do when doubt clouds your vision? You clear it by remembering why you started. What do you do when people say you can't? You let them watch as you do it anyway. This isn't just talk. This is your life. This is your one shot to make every breath count. So don't waste another moment letting weak feelings control your destiny. I want you to take a deep breath right now and feel the magnitude of this moment. Feel that urgency stirring in your soul. Let it energize you. Let it lift your spirit. Let it remind you that every heartbeat is another opportunity to choose differently, to stand taller, to speak louder, to reach higher. Because at the end of the day, the greatest tragedy is not failing. It's never trying. It's never living. It's never allowing yourself to become the person you were meant to be. So let's look one more time at what's at stake if you don't act. You risk living with untapped potential locked inside. You risk spending your days in envy of those who dared to try. You risk never knowing how far you could have soared if you had just believed a little more fiercely in yourself. That regret is a weight too heavy to carry. So kill your weak feelings now, before they suffocate your future. Take this moment as your call to arms. But don't just listen to me. Listen to yourself. Listen to that still, small voice that has always known you are destined for something greater. That voice is the real you. That voice is your truth. Don't silence it any longer with weak feelings. Let it roar. Let it propel you forward. Because you are stronger than you think. You are braver than you believe. You are more capable than you have ever allowed yourself to imagine. When you walk out of here today, let your shoulders be squared. Let your chest be high. You have made a choice to kill your weak feelings before they kill your dreams. To fight for the version of yourself that stands on the peak of that mountain, unafraid, unchained, and unapologetically alive. Because that's what you were born to be. Now, let's wrap it all together. We've covered how fear can sabotage your future by whispering lies about your limitations. We've seen how a sense of unworthiness can erode your confidence and keep your gifts locked away. And we've recognized how complacency can lull you into a stagnant existence where you stop growing. In each case, we've identified the roots fear stems from a distorted view of failure. Unworthiness is often a product of shame or external criticism, and complacency sneaks in when we mistake comfort for fulfillment. We've also explored solutions. Bold action despite fear, a firm acknowledgement of your inherent worth, and a burning commitment to perpetual growth. But the greatest lesson is this. No matter the weak feeling, you can slay it by confronting it, challenging it, and choosing a new mindset followed by decisive action. Let these lessons crystallize. Put them on repeat in your mind. Fear is not your boss, you are. You are worthy as you are. Complacency is a lie that disguises stagnation as peace. And in all things, you have the power to choose differently, to take a step forward instead of standing still, to push past the noise in your head and blaze a new trail for yourself. Right now, I'm inviting you to become an agent of change in your own life. Yes, it's easier said than done. That's precisely why most people never do it. They hear the call, but ignore it because answering it requires them to face their deepest insecurities. But you are not most people. You wouldn't be here if you were. You are somebody who senses a fire in your belly, a call to excellence, a hunger for more. You wouldn't be listening to me otherwise. So let this be the moment you stop hesitating. Let this be the day you decide that you will no longer tolerate the lies that keep you small. Take real steps. Maybe it starts with writing down your goals and setting a timeline. Maybe it begins with reaching out to someone you trust for accountability. Maybe you need to invest in a course, a coach, or a community that supports your growth. Whatever it is, do it soon. Do it now. Because time is moving whether you act or not. Time does not wait for perfect conditions, and neither should you. Use the momentum of this moment to propel you into action. And as you embark on this journey, remember you carry the legacy of countless warriors who refused to bow to weak feelings. Their stories live on in history books and in the memory of those they inspired. You, too, can be a warrior in your own right. Someone who stands firm, who pushes boundaries, who breaks chains. And warriors don't wait for consensus or approval. They move forward even when the path isn't fully clear. They rely on faith, on discipline, on courage. They rely on the unshakable conviction that they were meant for more. Now, let me leave you with a final call to action. When you exit this place, whether physically or metaphorically, commit to changing your narrative. Commit to speaking about yourself in terms of possibility, not limitation. Commit to greeting each new challenge as an opportunity to grow. Commit to recognizing that every setback is simply a lesson in disguise. And above all, commit to killing those weak feelings the moment they surface. Don't give them a second more of your time. Don't analyze them, nurture them, or share them. Shut them down. Replace them with the truth. You are here for a reason. You are equipped. You are enough. And you have a responsibility to live fully, love deeply, and shine brightly. This is not just a motivational phrase. It's a blueprint for living. If you put it into practice, if you truly integrate these principles, you will see shifts in your life you never imagined. Doors will open. People will rally around you. New opportunities will emerge. And most importantly, you will become who you've always been meant to be, a person of integrity, passion, vision, and unbreakable resolve. So in this final moment, as you stand on the brink of transformation, do one last thing. Envision yourself in the future. See that confident, empowered individual who used to be weighed down by weak feelings, but chose a different path. See that person lifting others up, inspiring them to conquer their own doubts. See that person living without regrets, forging ahead with boldness, taking risks, and making waves. That person is you. Once you decide that your weak feelings no longer have a seat at your table, make that choice, stand by it, and watch the world bend to your will. You have heard my words, and now the rest is up to you. Let them sink in. Let them linger in your thoughts. Let them guide your actions. Let them remind you that greatness is a decision away. And when doubt tries to slither back in, remember this moment. Remember the power in your heart, the fire in your soul, and the promise of your future. Kill those weak feelings on sight. Step into your rightful place. The world is waiting for what only you can give. Don't disappoint it. And more importantly, don't disappoint yourself. Now go claim the life that belongs to you.